Hello, Paulo.
Hello, Mercy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And welcome to my interviews. You're based there in Portugal.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a designer. I've done a bit of research about you. You've also done photography, a bit of modeling. So you've doubled a bit in the creative arts industries.
Yes. In reality, my formation it was in psychology. So I did my degree in psychology in the 80s. But in
Yeah,
the second year of my university, I started working with fashion because
yeah,
in Portugal, as you know, we come from a period from 40 years. It was very gray. It was a dictatorship. So in the end of the 80s, we have everything to do in Portugal. So when I finished my degree, I was already working in fashion. I was editor in a newspaper, a weekly newspaper, because we didn't have
yes.
fashion magazines. We just started fashion magazines in the 90s, in the 90s. So
Ooh,
before we was a weekly and we have a magazine in this newspaper. And so I experiment everything. I write about fashion, the shows in Paris, because in Portugal we just have a few designers in that period.
yes.
So I started as a journalist and doing fashion editing. And after in the 90s, we start everything. So we have the model agencies. So I start a fashion week in Portugal. I was creative
Wow.
director for 19 years. And I have a fashion program in television, in national television for 6 years about fashion as well. And after I start with all the magazines, first with Marie Claire, after with Elle for 15 years. Uh,
Wow. Wow.
yes, so I work like 32 years already in this area. And
Yeah.
now I'm just focused in the sustainable area.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love your wallpaper there. It says everything that you are. It's very, very creative. I've been looking at a couple of your designs, and in regards to the sustainable, it's the new era that we're in with fashion, because
Mm.
I believe that my dissertation was actually on the high street and where it's going to.
Mhm.
And with the fashion industry, there's too much buying. Here in the UK, we have shops like Primark. I don't know if you have that there,
I
which
know.
is throwaway fashion, which is not good. It's creating too much issues in the green house. So yeah, so tell us a little bit more about your organization to do with sustainable fashion.
So we start when I was still the creative director of the Fashion Week. It was in 2010. I was in Brazil in that period for the fashion shows there. And I decided then, I don't know why, it's my intuition. And I said, there's something we have to change in this paradigm of fashion. And
Yes.
so I was thinking that the only thing that I never worked with, it was with the textiles. Because usually when we work with the fashion photography, with the shows, we work with the outfits. We don't know
Yes.
so much about the textile and the importance of the textile. So
Yeah.
we start first with the smart textiles. So I make an approach to the industry in
Yeah.
Portugal because we are very good suppliers. The textile companies in Portugal, they're good suppliers for all the brands, international brands. So I make a kind of research, personal research about the textiles and the importance with the textiles with the environment, the
Yes.
relationship between our body and the environment. And so I think it was a fascinating area for me. It was a new thing, to know
Yeah.
that we have textiles that can help us to behave well and to live better in the environment. So it was we start with the smart textiles, as I said, like thermoregulator, the mosquito repellent, the cool fresh, all the solutions more
Yes.
technological than they have in the textiles. So I said like for 6 years, I work in this area. So I go to the international trade shows to show some capsule collections. Then we can see the performance of this kind of textiles in the fashion business.
Yes.
And 4 years ago, I was in a trade show, a sport trade show in Germany. It's the
Yes.
ISPO, it's the biggest one. And I realized that the young people, they're really concerned about these issues, about
Yes.
the impact and the clothing have in the environment, in the
Yes.
social area. So I make a challenge for the companies and for the Textile Association in Portugal. And I
Yes.
said to them, listen, we have to be more smart. We have to open our eyes, wake up and see that we have a huge impact in the environment. So we have to change some things in the system to become more circular in the way we approach the textiles and the fashion. So we start with that, with the international showcase. It's a it's a success nowadays. We are really welcome in the international trade shows. And we grow up and we grow up. And now the textile companies, more than 50% of the solutions, it's green solutions. So I think we did a very good, we are still growing because now we have own textiles, we have automobile textiles, so we have a lot of textile solutions. Then we can do with less impact or negative impact for the environment. Yes.
Yes. Here, I think in the UK where I'm based, I don't think we are as ahead as you in that area. We did have on Saturday the opening of London Fashion Week. I don't know if you normally attend that.
Yes.
Because at the moment, as we're having this interview, we're in lockdown. So flying,
same here.
yes, everything is virtual. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? And would you normally participate in London Fashion Week?
Yeah, before, yes. When I was editor of Elle magazine, I went to Paris, New York, Milan, and London, yes.
Yes.
For, I don't know, like more than almost 20 years I went there, yes. Not anymore, because now, you know what, I of course, it's my DNA, the fashion weeks. I born there, I grow up there. Everything I know, it's these, these connections between the international players in this area. But now I'm more focused on different approach, not so much in the collection, the seasonal collections, per season, but more for the products itself, So it's a different approach. So I don't go to the fashion shows anymore.
Yes. Okay. But with the products themselves, here in the UK, we've just left Europe, and Brexit has had such an adverse effect on the fashion industry. I was only reading, I think 2 weeks ago, that a lot of the fashion companies are going to have to throw away their clothes because it's going to be too expensive for them to send them back. Where do you think this is going for the fashion industry?
I know, because I have a friend, I was a buyer as well for some multi-brands boutiques here in Portugal. And one of my friends, they have a boutique for men, more conceptual men's store. And he said to me that the problem from the brands from UK now is when the product is made outside England, when you sell it. So the brands, they make the clothing outside England, but when they sell for Europe, now they have to pay an extra tax. So the products, they become really high, the price. So it can be a problem. I don't know how the solution is, because we are we are changing the paradigm now. So the problem is the fast fashion. The fast fashion, it was already in the problem. It was already a big issue for for our living, if you know.
Yes.
Yes, it was, because we have to stop this consuming so much, and so the waste we create with this fast fashion, we have to stop it or slow down a little bit. So with this pandemic situation, of course, we got to buy less, and maybe when we come back, maybe we got to rethink the way we consume. But with the British brands that I love, there are so many ones that I love.
Yes.
The question is, maybe we have to transfer the production of the products, not so much that usually they are more made in Asia, maybe to start production more in Europe because of the taxes. Otherwise it will be really expensive to, we stop?
No.
It was a connection, no? Maybe.
Yes, now you can continue.
So I think we are redefining a lot of things.
Yes.
Everywhere in the world, I think. But for England, for example, and our relationship with the British brands, I think they have to find a solution, because or they start making the production in Europe or nearby, or the prices they go so high. Then after for the competition with the brands for Europe, they maybe it's a problem. We'll see.
Yes, here a lot of shops have shut down. They've gone into liquidation. A lot of the clothes shop, like one of our biggest retailer, Topshop, has closed down.
Yes.
And a designer name, Karen Millen, also was one of them that felt the pinch during this pandemic. There's been some has been caused by the pandemic, some have just been caused by the decline in the industry. So the heavy costs of maintaining the fashion industry. So moving forward, as you said, that people need to now start adapting and start recycling clothes.
Yes.
That does that happen there?
Yeah. And recycling not only the clothes itself, but the yarns that become from the clothing. So the circular system for creating the loop in the system, it's good. We find different solutions when the waste of the clothing, in the end of the life of the clothing, they become a yarn and a new fabric. So we can do the upcycling now with the recycling of the garments, but we can do as well, we can become new yarns and new fibers again from the old garments. Yes. So we are doing a lot of things in the textile area, not so much in the upcycling situation, because the people, they think the upcycling and recycling is a kind of a poor thing. You know what I mean? It's a kind of, I don't want to be like this in this mindset. So the people, but when the industry, they take these garments, this waste, and they redesign the fibers themselves, we can have good solutions, green solutions, and for the consumer, we can adapt the consumer for this new paradigm.
That's good. That sounds fantastic. Yeah. With your company name, can you tell us your company name, because I don't think we've brought that up?
No.
And how you came about to getting the name?
So the name of the company is Manifesto Moda. Manifesto is a kind of political statement in the fashion. So Moda is fashion. Manifesto Moda is a kind of it's a manifesto for the fashion. I start with this because I really want that we can use the same creativity, but in the process, not just in the products, but in the process. So we have to change all the process. So we can use our creativity, because I work all the time, all my life with the creativity for image, for the shows, for everything. And now it's 5 years already, I want to focus in the process. So we can use our, because the people they've continued to dream, they buy by emotions. When we buy something, we buy by emotional. It's our emotional, not our conceptual. So we have to use this creativity for the process, to change the process, but to keep the glam, to keep the glamour, to keep the dreams, you know what I mean? So because the human being, it's a human being, and they have everything together. The time's changing. We have to change our way we consume, but
Yes.
yet we are dreamers all the time, you know what I mean? And we can't lose this, our capacity of dream and to be optimistic and to be now a better person for a better world. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Manifesto Moda and this project, this sustainable project I'm doing, it calls Green Circle. So Green
Yes.
Circle, it's the name itself, yeah.
Yes. So with the green circle, I believe that you have tech in it included.
Yes, because it's because we are include the technologies applied to the textile solutions. So because the sustainability approach, it's not
Yeah.
just the fabric itself, it's all the process. So don't you know, you have to use less water, less energy, or different kind of energy in the process, the chemicals, all these things then we use in the process, the packaging. Oh, so everything is in the system. We have to reduce the impact in the environment. So yeah, Green Circle, you have to see not just with the consumer, but all the process. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So with your younger self, what would be your advice to your younger self be in the to do with the whole fashion industry?
So I think we have so many things to do. I think it's everybody's a little bit concerned and a little bit sad, and we are a little bit tired of all this process. It's more than 1 year already, because in January I was in the trade shows. It was already the virus in China. So we are
Yes.
dealing with the virus more than 1 year already. So I think everybody's a little bit like, they just see the bad part of it. But I think it's a really important period nowadays.
Yes.
These times
Yes.
are really, really important for all of us, because all the future of everything can be decided now. Because as I said, the train is always on the way. Now we speed a little bit more. So we have to be more fast for our decisions and to be more clever for the things we decide to do from now on. So
Yes.
I think for the new ones, we have to, as I said, because I have a lot of assistants, everybody's really young, the people work with me. And I'm all the time, because they want to just stop the consume. And I said, no, it's not that, you know, because the business
Yes.
involved, all the system, it's a lot of money involved, and the industry and all the players,
Yes.
they can't stop producing and working. We have to redefine the way you make business, redefine the way you make clothing, redefine the way you make the advertising, the communication about the products. So
Yes.
yeah, so the young, yeah, the young ones, they have this capacity for redefine and rethink all the system and start
Yeah.
working with the waste. For example, the waste can be really a very tool, if you want, to make some creativity approach for this. So for example, when you do the upcycling, usually you put a sleeve, we change the sleeves, which, you know what I mean, a basic thing.
Yes.
But we
Yes.
can be much more clever and much more smart.
Yes.
Now, even, and we have a different thing now that helps us a lot. It's the science, the technology, the universities. The universities, they have the academia. They have different solutions that we can bring for our system, you know,
Yes.
with different
Yes.
language, different visions, because when you are called together, you know from the science, the other one knows about the fashion itself. So if we mix together, all together, we can find solutions that have less impact and that is better for the life of the person.
Yes. And also I think for me in this era
Yeah.
that we have a lot of upcoming designers
Mm-hmm.
that at the moment a lot of the designs, the fashion shows are online.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts on online fashion shows?
I think for the first of all, I think the fashion weeks, they go to change. a little
Yes.
bit, because it changed already, but it got to change more. I think the Fashion Week is a good platform for the young people, but they
Yes.
have to approach to this platform in a different way.
Yes.
But it's not, because before it's to show different collections all the time to seduce the consumer to buy more and more and more.
Yes.
We have to change that. So you have to use this platform to get together to find together different solutions and different process. So the first thing, and I think that all the luxury brands,
Yeah.
the main brands, the Yves Saint Laurent, all these kind of brands, they go apart from the Fashion Week. They are already a part of the Fashion Week. They
Yes.
find the right time to show these collections or these products differently from the Fashion Week. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think the Fashion Week can be the stage, if you want, the place to show new ideas, but in connection, one of them. You know what I mean? With different solutions and different ways.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Because
So
I think
the online is good, because online now all the young generation, they grow up with the internet. In my time, we don't have internet. So for us, we are all the time readjusting the way, you know what I mean, how we use tools. Yeah,
yes.
even now,
Yes.
yeah. But for
Yes.
the young people, they grow up with that. They know exactly how to reach the people, how to use these tools to make to create some emotions in the person. Because the question is you have to create emotion in the consumer. So
Yes.
I think they're all about, for me, it's more difficult than for the young ones, for sure.
Yes. Yes. I think because when I watched the show I was in on Saturday, the first show for London Fashion Week, that you saw they have to first now go into production and location as well. So it's costing more to get the models than it's costing to hire a production team. So I don't know whether the costs outweigh for traveling, if those who are traveling from abroad outweighs the production cost, outweighs the travel cost, because you then have to also transport the clothes as well to the UK, your whole collection. So perhaps that helps in some ways.
Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. Yeah. And you know what? Because we are developing, even here in Portugal, we are not very good in the digital area, because there are a lot of companies, they are not even have a site, for example. So you have to make an upgrade in this area.
Yes.
But even here, we are trying to find different digital platforms to create this emotion in the consumer. When you talk about textile, it's not the same about the clothing, because the clothing, if you put in a model, even when you film it or take a picture, we have memory how that fits in the cloth, in the body, you know what I mean? But the textile is different, because the textile, we need to touch it, you know what I mean? So it's more difficult to make a digital approach to sell textiles. So physical trade shows are really important for the textiles. But we are trying to find different digital solutions, because you know what? Because we have to change, because in the past we are all the time taking a plane, we go there, we go to that trade show, we come back, we come back,
and we're harming the environment as we do so.
Yes, and I think some things we learn with this pandemic situation, we learn that some things we don't need to go physically sometimes.
We've learned to think outside of the box.
Yeah, exactly, and readapt. We have to readapt and think in different solutions for the same goal.
Yes. When I've also looked at your collections that you've done, and they seem to have a little resemblance to Alexander McQueen. My twin brother is a designer, and he did some of the collections. Tell us a bit.
Yes, it was Saturday. I was giving an interview for the national television. It was the birthday of the television. It was that channel starts in 93. So
Okay.
they are talking with me about how it was the fashion in 93. And I remember in 93, it was when I saw the first shows of McQueen and Galliano. And I said to them, listen, it was so amazing to see. Then I saw the first show of McQueen in London before he went to Paris after.
Yes.
It was an amazing experience already. He was a young designer, just finished the St. Martin. So
Yes.
he was so creative. It was a fresh hair that we can see with the Galliano and McQueen. For me, it was an amazing experience. And it was, when he dies, it was like a big loss for me in the fashion. Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was a great loss.
Yeah.
Yes, I noticed your designs are couture.
Are what? Sorry.
Couture.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Couture. The luxury fashion, luxury.
Ah, okay, yes. Sorry, I didn't understand. Yeah, I love, you know what? I think even when we are talking about this new way of facing the fashion, the clothing, if you want, I'm
Yeah.
still a guy, I'm still a man that I see, that I work with women generally, not so much with men. I work more with
Yes.
women. And for me, I think that we have pleasure in life. I'm searching all the time for the people be happy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And feeling comfortable, but at the same time feeling beauty. The beauty for me, it's really important. Everything
Yeah.
I try to do with the beauty thing, you know what I mean? And I think the women, they like that, of course. They want to feel the self-esteem, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, and even when we are talking about this green approach, usually the green is more like the beige, the organic cotton, everything is really boring, you know what I mean? It's a kind of a boring thing. And I think, why don't we have to push it for the glam itself as well? We have to do something, then it's beauty and the fantasy and make our dreams with quality, of course, with respect for the planet, but with, you know, an allure of, you know what I mean? So I grew
Yeah.
up with that, and for me, it's really important to keep that in our life.
Yes. 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 And for you, because we as you said, you design particularly for women, and women love to, when they buy a dress, they're buying into more than just a dress. They're buying into a feeling, an emotion, something that makes them feel amazing when they enter a room.
Yes.
So as a designer, I can see from your designs, when I look to myself, you capture that. You capture the elegance of a woman, and I know that by looking at those dresses, a woman feels like a woman.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, because I think it's really important. It's we can't run away from this. You know, the human being is okay. We can be real rational. We can be like a mathematics way of thinking. We can make the accountability of all of this. But in the end, in our essence, we are emotional persons. You know, and the clothing is a way we have to communicate with other one. You know, it's a very important element for the communication between the human beings. So if you take out this part of the glam, if you want this femininity and this kind of new solutions, if you don't respect the power of the beauty that the women can have, and if
Yeah.
you put the intelligence when you make the choose at what you consume, because it's important when you consume, you
Yeah.
can choose. And this act of choosing, for me, it's really important. And we don't forget to be beautiful as well. Okay, we have to choose the right thing, you know, the right garment. We don't buy so much. We have to slow down the consumption, all of these. But at the same time, we have to keep our dreams, go forward.
Okay. And in closing, what would your last word be to people in the fashion industry?
I think we have to. Now, for example, I'm talking about me. I'm developing projects with Africa because I think the social approach is really important as well. Not just the environment, the concern about impacting the environment, but impacting the communities. And I think we have a lot of problems in the, for example, in Africa. I know Africa, I go a lot to Africa. And I think we have to, because when I go to Africa, each time I go to Africa, they invite me to make a fashion week like we have here. And I say to them, listen, we have to change that because we have so much potential, so much ancestral, you know, from the past, from the essence of the African is so inspirational, you know what I mean? Then we can use that. So for me, we have two things now, then we have put together and work together. Is the handcraft and all the techniques from the handcraft and work from the people, they work with the hands, they have these skills, like they like it was in the couture or is still in the couture. So these skills, these details we made with the hands, and we can put it together with the science, the technology, the future. So the past hand to hand with the future. For me, this is the way to do. And we have to do this again with the community. We have to stop that just doing the industry with the people without no names. We have to put people with names working. We have to tell, it's a storytelling. We have to introduce again the storytelling in the garments. So I want to know when I buy a clothing, who made my clothing? And I have a story with that garment itself. I remember in the 80s and in the early 90s, when I go, for example, I put all my money in part to buy a jacket from Yamamoto, for example. And I still have that jacket from Yamamoto. It's a story. I remember when I buy, where I buy it, you know what I mean? How it was a collection of Yamamoto. So these kind of memories, this kind of respect about the clothing, we have to have it back in the fashion system. So it's,
yes, I totally agree with that, because I'm the same, that there are clothes that I bought in Cornwall 20 years ago, and that resonates a memory of that holiday in Cornwall, and the clothes are still with the quality as good as when the same day I bought them.
Imagine, incredible.
It's very, very important. And then when you talked about the emerging fashion in Africa, that is something that is new, because I think for so long I attended African Fashion Week, and one of the seminars was discussing how a lot of the big brands go to Africa and they buy cheaply from the African designers and then sell in places like Harrods for ridiculous amount of money. Here there was something going around on social media where most people would buy that product maybe for £30, but in Harrods it was being sold for £3,000. And that is, for Africans, it was shocking that there was such a hike up in the market. So
and we have to change that, because when we, for example, now we can see, for example, like China, the Chinese, they make a lot of in Ethiopia, and they make this kind of manufacturings, but the people are, it was the same, you know, they changed the place, but the way of doing it's the same. So we have to change that. And we are using so much all the mood and the influence of the African, you know, the Africa is so, you know, when I go there, I feel so creative, you know, you want to make so amazing things, and they have all this process, you know, from the bio-based solutions, all these things is so amazing. Then we have to respect. But they are doing, the United Nations, they have a very good program. It calls the Ethical Fashion Initiative. Simone Cipriani is doing that with some countries in Africa. They are developing some solutions from the luxury brands. But they respect the people who are doing that, and they are well paid, you know what I mean? And so we have respect for that. I think the word here, then we have to put back in the system, is to respect for the other. So And so I think it's really creative. I'm really excited with this new. At the same time, we are concerned because it's an uncertain moment. We don't know what to happen because it's a huge system. A lot of brands, they go to close. A lot of people go to the unemployment. We know all of that, and it's bad. But at the same time, it's a period of reflection, and we can grow up and go forward in the right direction. And the inclusion of these people, these creativities, these people who work with the hands in Africa or in Portugal or in India, but it's use them not just in a ship, in a people worker,
labor, yes.
Yes, but for the skills they have.
Yes, yes. And I do believe that it's actually changing, and perhaps that this new era that we're in, where we've become global because of technology, has helped designers globally to be able to showcase their products and cut out the middleman who has been exploiting them.
Yes, and I think London and New York, they are showing that because they have a small group of startups of, if you notice, these young designers, they are showing all together. So it's a good, and Franca Sozana from Vogue Italia, she did that as well when she was alive. Unfortunately, she's dead as well. But Franca, she did that as well. She pushed up some of the young designers from Africa to make some international, because in the platform, the digital platform, you can use that. So it's a global thing. So we don't need
Wow.
Let's see. I'm optimistic about this situation. Let's see.
Yes. Okay. It was great to interview you, and I hope we'll be calling you back and catching up with you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.